Life is an opportunity, grab it. Life is full of beautiful moments, cherish it. Life is an inspiration, inspire. Life is also sharing, share, because you get what you give. Life is fair. Life is beautiful. Brought to you by Dandruff हटाउनुहोस् मात्र एक वाशमा Head and Shoulders. Brought to you by Dandruff हटाउनुहोस् मात्र एक वाशमा Head and Shoulders. Namaste, I'm Prabha Mate and welcome to Life is Beautiful right here only on Kantipur Television. बुद्धि र वृद्धिको तालमेल उमेरसँग भन्दा पनि आफ्नो मेहनत र लगनशीलतामा भर पर्दछ। यदि आत्मविश्वासका साथ निरन्तर प्रयास गर्ने हो भने यो 21औं शताब्दीलाई अवसरको स्वर्णिम युग भन्दा फरक नपर्ला। यस्तै अवसरलाई आफ्नो मन, वचन र कर्मले आत्मसात गर्दै सानै उमेरमा ठूलो काम गरिसक्नु भइसकेको इन्डियन अमेरिकन युवा व्यक्तित्व आकाश पटेल आजको मेरो ब्युटिफुल गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ, जसले 1 लाख भन्दा पनि बढी युवाहरूको माझमा आफ्नो मोटिभेशनल स्पीच दिइसक्नु भइसकेको छ र फर्स्ट लेडीको अफिसमा गुडविल एम्बेसडर र काउन्सिलेटको रूपमा ह्युमन ट्राफिकिङ, HIV र क्यान्सर जस्तो समस्याहरूको समाधानको लागि सहकार्य पनि गरिसक्नु भइसकेको छ। सो आकाश पटेल इज आवर ब्युटिफुल गेस्ट फर द सेगमेन्ट ब्युटिफुल पिपल। First of all, Akash, welcome to Life is Beautiful.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. This is your first time in Nepal. So what brought you here in Nepal?
What brought me to Nepal? Facebook. Thanks to Facebook, I met a lot of leaders, especially Mr. Shah and Mr. Kim and other artists and tabla maestros. And I was on a trip to Dubai, London, India, and then I finally decided to make it to Nepal and work with youth and empower the youth and inspire them in Nepal.
What inspired you to work on serious issues, and that too not in so serious age?
My mom was definitely an inspiration, even though she always wanted me to be an engineer, doctor, but she always inspired me. She was an inspiration. She motivated me to be a speaker, and my teachers were an inspiration. Not all the teachers in all the schools around the world are as inspiring and as motivating as my teachers. Otherwise, today I would have been an engineer working with machines rather than working with human trafficking victims or working with students at schools and colleges or working with jail inmates. So my teachers and my mom are definitely an inspiration.
There's a myth among common youth, especially or particularly South Asia, that your ethnicity becomes hindrance to do well globally. How do you defend on this statement?
Ethnicity definitely is a barrier, especially the caste system, as I've been seeing and observing in India and Nepal. But my message to the youth is that you're never too young or never too old to make a difference. And you might be 12-year-old, you might be 15-year-old, you might be 18, you might be 8. As long as you have the zeal, there's no power in this universe that can stop you from achieving what you're destined to achieve. But you have to have the drive and the passion to pursue it. I understand ethnicity is a problem, but I've seen a lot of students come out of their ethnic barriers and study in the cities and reach higher heights.
Can you share your experience working with the First Lady?
I've been working as a Goodwill Ambassador at the Office of the First Lady of the Dominican Republic, and I've worked with a lot of leaders at the United Nations, at the UNESCO, and I've been working for international government agencies in Costa Rica, working with a lot of social projects, especially empowering young people, empowering people in jails, empowering people in very rural areas, rural kids, and empowering them to dream bigger and to pursue their passion.
How do you channel your findings into solving problems?
I was 16, and the first time I have been to a slum, when I was traveling with my parents, and I'd never seen such poverty, never seen such misery, never seen people forced into trafficking, never seen people forced into drug abuse or alcohol abuse. And that was a turning point in my life when I decided that, hey, I need to get up and encourage young people to make a difference. And I came across a lot of people, even in Nepal. all of them like to, criticize the government, blame the government for everything they do. I went to a government school and they were talking about their half-a-kilometer street which is full of trash. So I told them, what are you doing about it, instead of complaining to the politicians? So I asked them to do one thing. I was like, instead of complaining about it, let's all 100 of us get together. I will sponsor your gloves and I will sponsor the mask. And we will clean the street in less than 10 minutes. And we'll let the media be there, we'll let the politicians be there, and the politicians will be put to shame if 100 people together work on several projects. And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years.
You're also one of the high-level nuclear delegates in India. How did you get into this affair?
Well, yes. Now, I need to mention this because in South Asia, a lot of parents force you to do something that they think is a lucrative career. Like especially my mom, since she's Indian, she always had a perspective, always had a notion that engineers make all the money, doctors make all the money. So for the first 6 months, even though I started my career as a motivational speaker at 16 years of age, my mom forced me to be an engineer. When I was 18 and I went to the United States at Iowa State University, for the first 6 months I studied nuclear engineering. And I did well. I made A's and I was a nuclear delegate, went with the US State Department and a top-notch nuclear scientist, Dr. Carolyn Heising. And we spoke at IIT, we spoke at BITS, we spoke at some of the top-notch universities in South Asia. So the only problem was that I did not like engineering. I didn't think that I would like to work with machines in the future. I like to work with people. I like to work with the environment. I like to work with social projects and empower young people. So I decided to quit engineering and I pursued my associates in speech emphasis, public speaking, and associates in certificate of mastery in Spanish. And I did what I love and I did what I like.
After a recent nuclear disaster in Japan, the entire world is wary about nuclear power. What is your opinion on nuclear energy?
Nuclear energy is one of the cleanest and safest energies. And what I concentrated on was not uranium-based cycles, but thorium-based cycles. Uranium-based takes a whole lot of years to decay. Whereas compared to thorium waste, we have a lot of thorium reserves in Australia and in India, which are not being used at the moment. But if you talk of thorium cycles, we have a way where we can use the waste and recycle the waste. So it is one of the very sustainable, and just a gram of thorium can give you thousands of megawatts of electricity. So nuclear energy is definitely safe, but you have to talk of nuclear analysis and safety measures before you set up a plant. Definitely, because Japan was a very big disaster, and there have been disasters in other places too, in other countries around the world. So we have to be careful, but that does not mean that people will stop from using nuclear energy as a source of energy. France still gets 90% of its electricity from nuclear energy, nuclear power. And still, there are no nuclear disasters in France. 90% of the electricity comes from nuclear energy. We have over 100 nuclear plants in the United States. Nuclear energy, you have to be a little careful. Nuclear analysis is a must.
So what are your findings in Nepal so far?
So far, the very first day I was very surprised, and this is my message to everybody, that I was walking in Tamil, and there was a very little kid, 8 years old, and he walked up to me, he was smoking, and then he's like, "Sir, ganja." And, I was very surprised and touched that day. That's why I went up with some U.S. Embassy Advisory Council, Youth Advisory Council members. And in the morning, usually, I start my morning at 6 o'clock and work with street kids and spend time with these kids, which I want to do in the future. Right now, I'm just observing the country and the social projects because this is my first time in the country. But next time when I visit the country for a month, I will come with a large group of international volunteers and work directly with young projects and projects with young people, and educate them and also empower them and give them the employment opportunities which will keep them away from drug abuse or from glue sniffing.
Did you also get to meet some of our government officials?
Quite a lot of diplomats, government officials, and I met the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's secretary, former Prime Ministers. And
so what is the first impression?
The first impression is that they have a very wonderful vision for the country. They have a vision for the country, but what I realized over the next 5-6 days when I was traveling in Tamil and other neighboring areas of Kathmandu, that the vision does not actually manifest in the streets. The vision must manifest in the streets and into action on the streets.
You have been a freelance journalist in major newspaper and have covered youth issues and global issues as well. What are your future plans?
Well, right now I've pursued my associates in speech emphasis and certificate of mastery in Spanish, so I've been teaching. I still freelance for newspapers. My future plan is to be a full-time diplomat, and that's why I'm also simultaneously pursuing my bachelor's in international relations, and I intend to work as a full-time diplomat with the United Nations or with the U.S. State Department in the long run.
So we hope to see you as an ambassador to Nepal as well.
Yes, in the long run, probably, and work with a lot of social projects in the country and with the people and with the environment.
You are a motivational speaker and your lectures focus more on cultural and moral education. Why do you think it is so important?
It's very important, especially in the United States. When I worked 2 years ago as a culture and an international students ambassador in the state of Iowa, I've been to some small towns in our state. The towns are very small, like 100 people, and predominantly white. They have never seen somebody with a brown skin. So when I went and I was imparting moral education and cultural education in those states, a lot of people up there thought that people in Nepal and people in India still ride elephants to work. People in India live in the slums because they've seen Slumdog Millionaire. So, I mean, that's not how it is. That's not the right picture. So we have to dispel the stereotypes through cultural and moral education. We have to show them that, oh, there's other people than white people. There are brown people, colored people in the world. And we have to teach them to tolerate other cultures, other beliefs, and other religions. So that's a part of my cultural education in the United States.
What are the common challenges to youths in the US and how they differ from our region, let's say South Asia?
Well, there's a few problems that are similar, especially pessimism. When you get into the field at a tender age of 16 years, I mean, people are very pessimistic, people are very skeptical. They'll be like, oh, Akash, you're 16 years of age. All you can do is go to school. You cannot come. What are you going to talk to my students about? Pessimism is definitely a big obstacle that I have come across. Pessimism from my parents, my own family, pessimism from my teachers, pessimism from my peers. And over the years, when I proved myself that, hey, now I'm working for the international government or I'm working for international nonprofits, my mom is now convinced and she's like, Akash, go for it, do what you like and enjoy your life.
Now, what is your message to our Nepali youth?
Nepali youth, my main message is do not underestimate the potential that you have in yourself and do not let anybody else underestimate your potential just because of your ethnicity or because of your age. I was 16 years old when I started my journey. Let my life be a small inspiration to everybody and the Nepali youth that if he could be a motivational speaker at 16, if he could work for the office of the First Lady when he was 20, if he could, travel around 30 countries and spread the message of love and tolerance, then even us as individuals, as 12 years old, at 13 years old, or 14 years old, or any age, we can make a difference in the lives of people.
Of course, I do agree with Akash because the earlier you start, the earlier you'll become successful. No? So now tell me, why life is beautiful to you?
My life is beautiful because I'm doing what I love to do. And I'm not doing what I was forced to do. And I'm not an engineer today, but I am a motivational speaker, a social activist, and a goodwill ambassador. I'm doing what I love. That's why I feel life is beautiful.
Okay, thank you so much, Akash, and it's lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to meet y'all, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
I hope कि तपाईहरु पनि equally motivated हुनुभयो होला आकाशसँगको कुराकानी सुनेर। अब पालो छ छोटो ब्रेकको लाइफ इज ब्युटिफुलमा। Do come back for more.
Brought to you by Dandruff हटाउनुहोस् मात्र एक वाशमा Head and Shoulders.
Welcome back to Main Life is Beautiful. कला राष्ट्रको गर्व हो र कलाकार राष्ट्रका गहना हुन् भनिन्छ र कला र संस्कृतिले एकदमै धनी हाम्रो देश नेपालमा बेला बखत यस्ता ट्यालेन्टहरू उदयमान भएका छन् र यसै गरेर आफ्नो मेहनत र आफ्नो कलाको माध्यमबाट आफ्नो राष्ट्रलाई देश विदेशमा परिचय गराउन सफल र भर्खरै मात्र राष्ट्रिय पुरस्कारद्वारा सम्मानित आर्टिस्ट मुकेश आजभोलि केमा व्यस्त हुनुहुन्छ हेर्न उहाँको आफ्नै स्टुडियोमा जाउँ and Mukesh is gonna buzz about his art in our segment Buzz Beautiful.
नमस्ते म आर्टिस्ट भिजुअल आर्टिस्ट मुकेश श्रेष्ठ स्वागत छ यहाँहरुलाई मेरो यो सानो मुकेश एटलियरमा हाल म यही मुस्ताङ सिरिजमै काम गर्न अलि व्यस्तै छु यही सिरिजमा काम गर्दै छु अहिले चाहिँ यहाँहरु मेरो यो पहिलाको आर्टहरु र मुस्ताङकै आर्टहरु पनि मैले सानोतिनो कलेक्सन गरेको छु यहाँहरु त्यो हेर्दै गर्नुस् यसको फर्दर कुरा हामी पछि गर्दै गरौँला स्कुल लाइफदेखि नै खास त आर्टमा अलिक इन्ट्रेस्ट थियो मलाई तर मैले प्रोफेसनली लाग्ने विचार गरेर म आफ्टर एसएलसी नै पेन्टिङमा लाग्न थालेको हो अनि पेन्टिङमा लाग्ने भएपछि मैले ललित कलामै पढ्न सुरु गरेँ मैले आइएफए इन्टरमिडिएट प्लस ब्याचलर त्यहीँबाट मैले सुरु गरेँ त्यसपछि आफ्नो ग्रुप एक्जिबिसन सोलो एक्जिबिसन पनि त्यहीँबाट मैले थालिने गरेको सोलो एक्जिबिसन चाहिँ मेरो 2006बाट पहिलो सोलो एक्जिबिसन सुरु भएको थियो जुन चाहिँ मैले मुड अफ टाइम भनेर एउटा शीर्षकमा गरेको थिएँ त्यसमा चाहिँ मैले नारी वेदना आफ्नो कल्चर झल्काउने त्यसमा आधारित मैले पेन्टिङ गरेको थिएँ जुन चाहिँ नेपाल आर्ट काउन्सिलमा सुरु भएको थियो मास्टर लेभलको पढाइ सुरु नभए भएर मैले चाहिँ बाध्य भएर इन्डियामा लाग्नु पऱ्यो किन एमएफए थिएन यहाँ अब त्यतिकै बस्ने कुरो पनि भएन त्यसपछि म इन्डियातिर पढाइको लागि सुरु इन्डिया गएँ बनारस हिन्दू युनिभर्सिटीको भिजुअल आर्ट ग्यालेरी जुन चाहिँ बिएचयू प्राङ्गणमै छ त्यो चाहिँ मैले सुरु गरेको थिएँ मैले त्यसमा चाहिँ मैले काशी द इम्प्रेसन भनेर आफ्नो कला सोलो एक्जिबिसन सुरु गरेको थिएँ जसको इनोग्रेसन चाहिँ त्यहाँको चान्सलरले भाइस चान्सलरले इनोग्रेसन गर्नुभएको थियो त्यसको एक पिस चाहिँ म हजुरले यहीँबाट चाहिँ देखाउन चाहन्छु त्यो बेला अलिकति काशीमा पढायो भएर त्यहाँ गङ्गा नदी त्यहाँको चिसो हावा त्यहाँको मौसम जुन चाहिँ मैले डाइरेक्ट त्यो देखाएको चिज चाहिँ त्यो बेला बनाउँथिनँ जुन देखिसकेपछि मलाई त्यसले कस्तो प्रभाव पार्यो त त्यसपछि त्यसमा आधारित गरेर मैले आफ्नो काम गर्थेँ यो चाहिँ मेरो आफ्नै एउटा बडीको पार्ट हो मैले त्यहाँ गङ्गा नदीमा स्नान पनि 2-3 चोटि गरेँ स्नान गर्दाखेरि त्यहाँ दाइ बाँध्दाखेरि त्यसपछि मलाई कस्तो असर पर्यो त मैले त्यो बुझ्नलाई म त्यसरी नहुन्थेँ पनि त्यसको असरको एउटा चाहिँ पेन्टिङ हो म जस्तै अरू व्यक्तिहरूले स्नान गरेर यसले चाहिँ रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ यो दुईवटा बडीले चाहिँ जस्तै एक थोपा पानीमा दुध हाल्दा जसरी फैलिन्छ त्यसै गरी शरीर पनि फैलिएको जस्तो मलाई अनुभव भयो त्यो अनुसारको मैले आफ्नो कलर थ्रुबाट रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्न खोजेको My paintings do not reflect real life model, but express the particular impression of particular time because I wanted to express the direct internal effects of the particular time. भन्ने चाहिँ जुन मलाई त्यो एउटा त्यो फिलोसफी जुन भ्यान गग जस्ता आर्टिस्टहरूले जुन चाहिँ हल्यान्डका आर्टिस्टहरू उहाँहरूले पनि त्यसैमा थेममा रहेर काम गर्नुभएको थियो त्यही थेम चाहिँ मलाई आफूलाई मन पर्यो र म अहिले यहाँ आएर पनि मैले त्यसलाई निरन्तरता अहिलेसम्म दिँदैछु र म यसैमा निरन्तरता दिन्छु होला सायद ल्यान्डस्केपै गर्छु भनेर लागेको चाहिँ यो मेरो पहिलोचोटि हो र यसको म सोलो एक्जिबिसन भनेर पनि गर्नेतिर लागिरहेको छु एउटा सानो उद्देश्य लिएर पनि गरेको त्यतिकै गरेको पनि होइन हाम्रो सरकारको आँखा नपुगेको ठाउँमा त्यहाँको भाग्य हराइरहेको मान्छे बच्चाहरूको लागि के होस् भनेर चाहिँ मैले त्यो उद्देश्यले त्यो सुरु गरेको हो अब मुस्ताङको पेन्टिङ मैले गर्न थालेको पनि लगभग यो सकाउन थालेँ वर्ष दिन नै भइसक्यो अब लगभग 1-1.5 महिनाभित्र म पक्कै पनि मुस्ताङमै जाँदैछु उहाँहरूको एरियाको काम उहाँहरूले नै पस्कन म जाँदैछु जुन चाहिँ मैले जोमसोममा यसलाई चाहिँ प्रदर्शन गर्ने सोच बनाएको छु तपाईँहरू पनि जानुहोस् हेर्नुहोस् मुस्ताङमा रमाउनुहोस् र यसलाई प्रचार गर्नेमा अलि टेवा थोरै भए पनि टेवा दिनु हुनेछ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई
Wishing Mukesh a very best for his artistic career. I'm taking a short break and life is beautiful.
Brought to you by Dandruff हटाउनुहोस् मात्र एक वाशमा Head and Shoulders.
समाजको रूपान्तरण आदर्शभन्दा एक्सनबाट हुन्छ र प्रत्येक सक्षम व्यक्तिले आफूले सक्ने सानो योगदानबाट शिक्षाको ज्योति सबैलाई समान रूपमा पुगोस् भन्ने कामनाका साथ सुरु गरिएको आसमानको Each One Teach One प्रोजेक्टको एक झलक अबको सेगमेन्ट ब्युटिफुल इभेन्टमा Each One Teach One को बारेमा के भन्नुस् न
अहिले यो 10th इयरमा वी आर स्पोन्सरिङ अबाउट 380 चिल्ड्रेन सुरु गर्दा चाहिँ हामीले 60 जना गरेको थियो क्लास 1 को देन द नेक्स्ट इयर वी डिड अबाउट class 1 and 220 children. अब अहिले पुगेर 380 जना पुग्यो.
And education चाहिँ हाम्रो मेन वुमेनहरुको लागि चाहिँ एडभान्समेन्ट र एम्पावरमेन्टको लागि मेन टुल हो. त्यसैले धेरै नेपालीहरु यस्ता पनि छन् कि जो आफूले गर्न चाहने हुन्छ तर they don't find an outlet. So if there's a good cause, there's a lot of people supporting it.
कस्तो रेस्पोन्स आइरहेछ बच्चाहरूबाट?
They're very happy to see their sponsors.
Really looking forward to see their sponsors उनीहरूले अब स्पोन्सर गरिदिएको कुराहरू लगाउन पाइरहेछ. I mean the textbooksहरू सबै युज गर्न पाइरहेको छ. So they're really happy about it. And जस अब स्पोन्सर्सहरू जतिजनाको आउनुभयो माथि क्लासमा लग्दाखेरि पनि they were very interactive with them. So राम्रो छ रेस्पोन्स.
स्टुडेन्ट भएकोले अहिले त फर्स्टमा राम्रोसँग पढ्नुपर्छ है.
तपाईले मिस नेपाल भन्दा कुन विषय पढ्नुपर्छ?
नेपाल नै रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्ने भयो अनि तिमीले म्याथ, साइन्स, हिस्ट्री अरू के सब्जेक्ट पढ्छ तिमीहरूले? सोशल, मोरल साइन्स हो सबै पढ्नुपर्छ. आसमान सेन्ट मेरियन्स एक्स सेन्ट मेरियन्सहरूको भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि इच वान टिच वानमा स्पोन्सर गर्नलाई आसमानकै अब सेन्ट मेरियन्सकै हुनुपर्छ कि?
हजुर यसमा चाहिँ के छ भने you don't have to be a St. Marian product to help for this scholarship. You can be from any sphere, anywhere, and you can contribute in your own little ways. अनि फेरि आसमानले not only does it support Mary Ward School, whatever the function is happening here, not only here, we're trying to reach out to other students in the remote areas like Makwanpurma, Sky Foundation, we are helping them as well.
Each one teach one मा मैले सुनेको थिएँ कि let's नेपाली sponsor नेपाली children भन्ने कुरा यसमा अलिकति प्रश्न गरिदिनु न.
One person for one child. But कतिपयमा चाहिँ एकजनाले 10 जना पनि गरिरहेछ. So we have about 50% Nepalese donors. अनि Indian Foundation पनि छ, Sun Foundation भन्ने. अहिले यो year तिनीहरूले 50 जना गरेछ. And Annapurna होटलले 10 जना. And apart from that एउटा interesting Bonnie and Jerry भन्ने एउटा couple 10 वर्ष अघि आएको थियो. And they had sponsored like 10 children. So they came for the function. I said 10 जना बच्चा लिएर के गर्नुहुन्छ भन्दा, oh, this is a souvenir I'm taking back to US. मेरो बच्चाहरूलाई र friendsहरूलाई दिने, now take care of these children I have given you भनेर भन्ने. That was a wonderful idea. So next year they came with 30 students they sponsored. Garda in a span of 10 years now they are sponsoring 260 children. We are happy to see. So it's been a huge success. But we still need 100 more sponsors to complete the ambition we set for ourselves. Mary Ward को पूरा गर्नलाई 500 बच्चाहरू छ. अहिले 380 जति गरिरहेछौँ. त्यसपछि त्यो बाहेक पनि like my friend said मकवानपुरमा 155 बच्चाहरू, and we want to extend as many as possible.
स्पोन्सरको केसमा मैले पहिला पनि एक दुईजना नानीहरूलाई गरेको थिएँ. बच्चाहरू शिक्षित भयो भने समाजको लागि राम्रो हो भन्ने चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ. त्यही भएर
यो तिमीले के पायो यहाँ?
सबै सुज, रिबन, बक्स, ड्रेस एन्ड बुक्स, कपिज. केही किन्नु पर्दैन. मम्मी ड्याडीलाई राम्रो लाग्छ. हामी राम्रोसँग पढ्छौँ. कपीहरूको केही खाँचो हुँदैन. सजिलो भएको छ. ड्रेसहरू किन्नु पर्दैन. सबै यहीँबाट दिएको छ.
मेरो नाम चन्दा मगर हो. अहिले म यहाँ पढ्न पाउँदा धेरै खुसी छु. सबैजना साथीहरूसँग रमाइलो लाग्छ.
सिस्टरहरूले पनि राम्ररी पढाउनुहुन्छ. सबै कुराको सुविधा छ.
मलाई मेरो स्कुल राम्रो लाग्छ. यहाँको टिचरहरूले माया गरेर पढाउनुहुन्छ.
म केस क्लासदेखि आएको पढ्न सुरु गरेको हो. यहाँ अहिलेसम्म मलाई जम्मैको सुविधा पाएको छ. अहिलेसम्म खुसी नै लागेको छ.
म कपिलवस्तु जिल्लाको गाउँदेखि आएको हो. म यो स्कुलमा पढ्दा धेरै खुसी छु. किनभने यहाँ कोचेर बस्नु पनि पर्दैन. सबै साथीहरूसँग मिलेर बस्नुपर्छ. अरू स्कुल जस्तो फोहोर पनि छैन. सफा छ. यहाँको सिस्टर मिस सबैले राम्ररी पढाउनुहुन्छ. र म ठुलो भएपछि म मेरो स्कुललाई हेल्प गर्न चाहन्छु.
तिम्रो आँखा हेर्दै मेरो माटो जस्तियो भोलि सुन्दा नै जस्ती
So the children are happy. They get the things in time. Suppose that we tell them to buy the books and then their parents, according to their time, it will be very difficult for the teachers to continue their teaching. So it is ASMAN is doing a great help. So we are very happy.
Education is the light that kills the darkness of ignorance, and each one teach one project ले धेरैलाई enlighten गरिरहेछ. यसमा चाहिँ तपाईहरुलाई congratulations छ सक्सेस हुँदै गइरहेकोमा, and I'm very much wishing all the best to your future projects as well. Thank you so much. देशको उत्थान शिक्षाको समान पहुँच सामाजिक सन्तुलन सद्भाव र आर्थिक विकासबाट मात्र सम्भव छ र प्रत्येक नेपाली नागरिकले आजको विश्वमा प्राप्त अवसरलाई राष्ट्रहितको निमित्त यथाशीघ्र सोच्न जरुरी छ भन्दै कार्यक्रम लाइफ इज ब्युटिफुलबाट बिदा माग्ने पालो आएको छ. Till I see you next week, stay beautiful inside and out.
Brought to you by Dandruff हटाउनुहोस् मात्र एक वाशमा Head and Shoulders.